schools. But if you're asking me, do I feel that students should be held accountable or to face responsibility for violations of the student code? Unfortunately, even though we may not want to do that in life, we all have to face responsibility for our action.
If they use foul language at home in front of their parents, is it fair to swear in school?
You know, I can't speak for what students do when they're away from school. What I do know is that our families are very supportive and that they have very high expectations for all the young men and young women at West Geauga High School. However, if you're asking me if students are allowed to use profanity at home, is it fair that they're not allowed to use it in school? Yes, because school is a test run for life, and really in the world, in an interactive society, profanity, inappropriate language, or swearing, as you want to call it, is not acceptable.
What made you change the rule this year about swearing or using foul language that you get suspended if a teacher or staff member or whoever hear you?
Well, we never changed the rules. We didn't add any rules. We are just emphasizing to our young people that, you know what, we've shown so much progress in so many areas that one of the things that we really feel that we need to work on this year is having our young men and young ladies know how and when to use appropriate language. And one of the things that we try to emphasize at school is if you develop habits, whether they're good or bad, those are the kinds of behaviors that you're going to continue to exhibit in school or out of school. One of the things that we want our young people to do is develop the habit of not using inappropriate language. And it does not have to be profanity. It could be suggestive language. It could be disrespectful language. It could be language that could be viewed as intimidating or harassing. So it's not only the profanity, we just want our young people to be conscious of language as a means of projecting the image that's going to carry you through life.
Why do you think kids in the high school use the F word in their vocabulary as an everyday thing?
Probably it's a social phenomena. Probably it's something that occurs as a counterculture kind of behavior. You know, that's simple things are very easily imitated. So if someone does something that's very easy to imitate, everybody will do it. And unfortunately, the use of that very offensive term is something that has begun to permeate society, has become widespread, but nonetheless, that does not make it acceptable, and it will never be acceptable. And really and truly, no matter what anybody said, if someone says it didn't offend me, it's not whether or not it offends the person who is using it or who they are using it toward. Is it offensive to anybody who can witness it? And that could be a passerby, and someone might say, well, that's none of their business. Well, it is their business. If they hear something that's offensive and that's shocking or inappropriate, it's inappropriate.
If your kids use the F word in school, what would their punishment be?
Well, my kids are out of school now. I had never heard that my own children had used that word. Whether or not they did, only they would know. But it's something that I would not accept. And once again, you know, punishment is not something that really is in my vocabulary. I'm not looking to punish anybody. I'm not looking to get anybody. We're not looking to say got you. Whether it be students at West Geauga or my own children, that language is unacceptable and intolerable, and the responsibility that they would face in my home would be the same responsibility that students around this district would face at home for use of that word.
Did the same rules apply to you when you were growing up?
Yes, they did, and I can tell you that in terms of responsibility, I don't know that I could ever recall someone using that word out loud in school. Were people saying that word when I was in school? There's no question. Were people using other forms of inappropriate language? Absolutely. But was there responsibility and punishment? I can assure you that there was, and I can assure you that it was much more severe both in school and out of school than it is in 2001. The good news is today that we're willing to recognize all of our students as responsible and capable young men and young ladies. We're coming right out and announcing our expectations, also announcing to everyone what the responsibility and what the penalty or consequences of a violation of this sort would be, so that there's no doubt. If it's something that you do, you need to be willing to accept the consequences.
Thank you, Mr. Mueller. I'm Samantha. For television production, I'm Samantha Schmidt.
Well, thank you, Samantha. Good job.